Hey team, a very good morning. Quick update here on the major dollar pairs and of course gold, which played out beautifully from that overall liquidity high that we highlighted yesterday. Now, diving into the market straight away, EURUSD itself has found support here at the monthly open level. Checking in here on the 1 hour, you can see that at multiple bounces on that monthly open level, and it is currently waiting for CPI to be released today. So today we have CPI news coming out, guys. So that is consumer inflation. Anything higher than expected should cause the dollar overall to push up higher. Lower than expected inflation should push EURUSD in towards the highs and should make the dollar weaker. Now, looking here at EURUSD, we can see that on the daily time frame, we've just come back down in towards the range. And we're finding some sort of support here on the monthly open. Now, personally, I'm not really looking to trade euro at the moment, just also again with major news being released today. Let's wait and see where this wants to head. If it just heads back down lower in towards the range, maybe from the lower bound of the range, we could look for a long again. But personally, I am staying out of any longs from these levels. I would preferably want to see a deeper retracement if I were to look for any longs at all. For now, bears are in control here and have brought price back into the range. We have the free monthly level that acted as an area of resistance. And we have therefore now gotten the monthly level as an area of support. And these are, by the way, the opens, guys. For this indicator, you can just go into indicators and then type in the daily, weekly, monthly, yearly opens by SBT and C. Now, looking at euro for the rest, let's just see where it wants to head. I'm looking more at the dollar. The dollar in itself has been pushing up higher from the lows after, again, sweeping a lot of the lows. Personally, I want to see this major low get taken out before any real reversal back in towards the highs. It's already started to push up higher and even breaking the monthly open. Obviously, there's still a lot of liquidity resting above all of these highs. So I would, at some point in time, want to see the dollar push up higher and take out all of those highs. But let's wait and see what news does. If the dollar index day with the news does push down lower, then I think that would be a potential buying opportunity from, for example, the free monthly open or one of these two liquidity lows. Okay, so really, I think personally that it's a little bit too early to look for those longs on the dollar. For me, it would need to head down lower first before looking for any longs. Now we're coming back up into this imbalance zone over here on the dollar index. So let's see. Only if that were to break, then I would be, for example, looking to trade it back up towards this high of Friday, the 1st of August, which is our NFP high. But otherwise, I'll just be looking for this supply zone to push the market down lower again in towards the free monthly open or one of the two liquidity lows. And at the downside on the dollar would then mean that EURUSD could make a potential pushback in towards the highs from this monthly open where it is currently positioned, or from where, well, from these daily areas of imbalance over here. So that's what I currently have on this daily imbalance is currently in control, as well as an area of demand together with the monthly open. That is what's preventing price from pushing down any lower. If that were to break, then we could definitely see some further downside, but otherwise, until then, I'll be looking for longs inside of there. So that's EURUSD and the dollar. Going into GPUSD, we can see that GPUSD has been stalling a bit. GPUSD, guys, my chart looks like an absolute rainbow. Or like a colorful palette, but I promise you it's actually very, very simple. All you kind of need to focus on here is that we were in an uptrend, so bullish trend, then we got a strong break in towards the downside. Then what happened here is that we grabbed liquidity above this internal high here, and then from there we started to sell off. Now, overall, obviously throughout August, GPUSD has been consolidating, and now what I'm just focusing on is the high and the low of the range. So here we have the low of the range, and then here we have the high of the range, and ultimately you want to be selling from the high of the range. So GPUSD shorts would make more sense because the overall range that we're now trading inside of is this little green box over here. So we're trading at a premium, so at the upper bound of the overall range, because this here is the lower bound of the range. So shorts make sense, but personally, I'm just waiting for liquidity to get grabbed and then for a short, and my ideal short position would then be from this liquidity high over here. That is where I'm really starting to favor some shorts, as in addition to that, we also have the free monthly open there that would act as an area of resistance. So I'm keeping my eyes open for that there on GU. For the rest, if we do start to see some momentum in towards the downside, we would need to see a market structure break, and that would be a break of this internal structure that we have here, and then if we were to break this black line low, it's the same low that I mentioned in yesterday's video, then we could look for some shorts on the momentum. But otherwise, until then, demand is still in control. We still have the monthly and weekly open here. So I'm more looking for kind of like a bounce back in towards the highs to grab more liquidity above those resting highs. Going into NDUSD, ADUSD, NDUSD in itself made more manipulation yesterday. Again, taking out this high or the initial reaction. Let's see if we can break this low here and then start to see some momentum in towards the downside. This is kind of like what I'm referring to with double fractal breaks. That's often just the best when the dollar is ranging to wait for, because at the moment the market is just very uncertain. You can see again it's consolidating and waiting for CPI to come in. If you want to trade the momentum, you could also place a sell stop on the fractal low and then try and trade it in towards the downside and kind of anticipate on what inflation numbers will come out. But ideally you want to be waiting for a strong break and then another break and then get in on the momentum, because once there is momentum, there's still more than enough room to make very good returns in the overall impulsive leg, which is kind of like this red zone that I've drawn in over here. So red zone is impulsive, orange zone is a pullback, red zone is impulsive. So that's NDUSD, and then ADUSD is very similar in the sense that it is starting to look better, though I must say that it is still very, very bullish. So are we then going to be calling the top? Well, obviously we've come in towards a swing high where there's liquidity, hence the overall initial rejection. So this is what I've been calling all week for that high to get taken out. So don't say I didn't warn you. Since Monday, I've been talking about that high. So it's nice to see that it's been taken out. Now, let's see if you were to look for shorts at this point in time. You would obviously need to see the 3-monthly level here broken, as that's now the demand that is in control. So we want to look for shorts potentially, but we need to see bearish momentum come in, because otherwise we'll just continue pushing up higher and higher. Because for now the 3-monthly open, which is a strong level of support, is in control, and the immediate market structure is also bullish. So it doesn't make sense yet to look for shorts, but shorts could come in the near future. But for now, I'm only looking at potential longs here on ADUSD. As the momentum is also in towards the highs. Then if we go into USD Swiss, USD Yen, USD CAD and Gold. So USD Swiss has come in towards the highs that I wanted, as you can see. So obviously here we've taken out a little bump in the road. Looking at the direct market structure, we can just see that the market structure is bearish and that we're trending downwards. Swing high, swing low. This is the internal high over here of liquidity with the monthly open. So I'm looking for a short back in towards the downside from this level. So look at the lower time frame to see if you get any confirmation for a potential short. So I'm looking for USD Swiss short, USD CAD. We can see that USD CAD has come in towards the highs, also the one that I wanted, the bump in the road, and into the 75% region. So again, also a good level to look for a potential short opportunity. So let's see if these CPI numbers can kind of cause the dollar to reverse for this week back in towards the downside. But it is sitting at the bump in the road, and it is sitting at the 75% level of the overall daily range, right? So, or it's more kind of like a 4-hour range. So of the 4-hour range, so I'm favoring to look for shorts. Let me make this nice and thick for you. So we're at the 75% level. We've taken out the bump in the road, and we still have equal lows open down over here. So I would be favoring an overall short position, but we would need to see some confirmation, because obviously with CPI, this can just rocket up. But let's wait and see if we get any confirmation at all for that short. But at least we do have confluences in the form of the bump in the road, etc., etc. Then USD JPY. So USD JPY, nothing much has changed since what I mentioned. Again, we're in a range. Anybody trading in between the range is an absolute idiot. Doesn't really know what he's doing. We can clearly see that this is like no man's land with chop, 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 chop. Where do you want to be buying? 25% region. Where do you want to be selling? 75% region. So, I mean, once price comes up higher, then we can look for shorts again. Though I must say the yen basket does look good to head up higher. But again, it is chopping in between what? In between the yearly open and in between the monthly open. So again, the yen is also in a range, and it rejected kind of like this descending trend line. Not that I trade with trend lines, but you can clearly see that it's kind of like rejecting that. So I do expect kind of like a breakout in towards the highs in the near future. But price is still charging. So how can we then use the range trading tool to our advantage here on yen basket? Well, understand that we want to long from the 25% level. So when price comes there, then I'll look for a long again. And that then means that we could look for shorts on, for example, a GJ or a AJ or an NJ. So I'm just waiting for price to come there. And then, of course, gold, guys. Gold, I highlighted that in yesterday's video where we had the internal liquidity high. And remember, I said, and I don't know if you guys watch these videos every single day, but I was saying this here is kind of like, again, your little bump in the road of liquidity. Wait for that to get taken out and then look for the shorts. That played out very nicely for intraday traders. So congratulations if you were in that. You kind of had like obviously the 4-hour bearish fractal structure, and then the 1-hour time frame. Yeah, after taking out that liquidity, gave us a double 1-hour fractal break. And on the 15-minute time frame, you can clearly see that the overall order flow just continued to push the market down. Yeah, lower and lower. So very nice price action overall there for gold. And now obviously we've kind of like come back all the way in towards the lows. We can still look for downside continuation today, as there's still so much liquidity open underneath the lows. But yeah, do you want to be trading or do you want to be shorting gold kind of like when the overall leg down has already happened here, in the sense that like if you do short gold, then you want to be taking this short over here, right, in towards lows. You don't want to be shorting kind of like at the end of the overall impulse that has already happened near the break of structure line. So for myself at the moment, gold is kind of like in a no trading region. The overall short, if you wanted to short it, already played out. And now if you want to look for a long, it would need to manipulate a little bit more, and then we could look for a long again in towards the highs. But for now, for me, gold is kind of like in a no touching zone. The overall short played out yesterday that I explained there for intraday traders. And now if you want to look for a long, there's obviously still a lot of liquidity resting above those descending highs. So you could look now for a reversal up higher. But personally, I would only look for a reversal once we liquidate this low and then see a strong V-shaped reversal back in towards the highs. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you a fantastic trading day. We're going live for the New York session at 2:30 Central Eastern Time. So hope to see you there.